with Shavuos coming up, how does Daf Yomi learner spend his Shavuos? Many people, if they're in yeshiva or in kollel and spend their days learning, it may be easier for them to continue and focus in depth on the sugyas they're learning all week. But someone who spends maybe an hour or a little bit more than that on his Daf Yomi, should he just do that on Shavuos? Anything else he could add with his Daf Yomi or with something else? What do you suggest?
I say the Daf Yomi learner for Shavuot is a lucky guy because he doesn't have to search for a topic. The whole world is searching for inyanim and sugyot, and they're printing pamphlets and all sorts of books. The Daf Yomi guy is a happy guy because he knows exactly what daf he's up to, what point he has to start, what point he has to end. The advantage of Shavuot to me is that he can do it a little deeper than he normally does. He can take a glance at the Tosafot. He can look at the back of the book at the small letters. He could maybe open up a Shulchan Aruch and do it. So to me, it makes it much easier. If you're a daf guy, your curriculum is set. It's a challenge this year. I mean, add that to the list of challenges. But again, it's a one-nighter. It's if you could put yourself for 3 hours. It's really what it is. After we read the Tikkun, and then we pray early. So it's a 3-hour. It's like a seder in the yeshiva. If you could commit yourself to sitting in front of the sefer for 3 hours. Point to point, and then commit yourself to a little deeper learning. I think, like I said, I think it's easier for a daf guy to go through the night of Shavuot.
There's something called Tikkun Leil Shavuos, which is sourced in the Zohar, and it's just a little pamphlet. You sit down Shavuos night and you read a little bit of every single Parsha and Chumash, a little bit of every Sefer Nevi'im and Ksuvim, and then some of every single Masechta and Mishnayos, some selections from Zohar, and a little bit more of Teres HaNister. Rabbi Shimshon Pincus explains, like, what in the world are we doing Shavuos night? Why are we doing this Tikkun Leil Shavuos? He explains that the night before Shavuos, the night before Matan Torah, we're trying to show Hashem that the Torah that you're about to give us is so vast and so incredible. We want to learn the entire thing. We love every single part of it. However, it could take us an entire lifetime to do so. And that's so difficult for us to describe to you and show you how we want to do it. So we're going to do a little bit of all of it. We're going to take a sample of the entire Torah, and we're going to do that Shavuos night so we can show you how dedicated and how close we really want to be and learn the entire Torah. So the general idea of Shavuos is to do exactly that. It doesn't have to be by learning Tikkun Leil Shavuos, but somehow expressing to Hashem how much we do want to learn the entire thing. We want to learn 100 daf a day. We simply can't, so we have to do 1 daf. It's like a kid going into the ice cream store. He wants to have all the ice cream, but he can't. But he could take that little red spoon from the little bucket on the counter and sample every single ice cream, if his mother lets him. So that's what we're trying to do Shavuos night. And that's my idea that I always try to think of for myself, try to share with other people, is a Shavuos night, show Hashem that you want to try to do it to the best of your ability. But the only way we can do it is if it's 1 step at a time, and 1 daf at a time. But slowly but surely, over the weeks, months, and years, we finish Shas and can even finish Kol Torah Kula. So it's really recognizable and realizable.
So this is really where the Chavrusah thing sometimes is critical. It's fascinating how people, especially if they learn by themselves, when they get into with a Chavrusah, Shavuos by night, the pilpul could be amazing. It could be really exciting. It could be really invigorating. Getting that, also to be able to flesh it out a little bit, which one of the things I find is that people are surprised to realize other things that really attract them that just they're not open to that. And the truth is, in our daily life, Daf Yomi, you got to go. Shavuos sometimes gives you an opportunity for a break, I mean, to open yourself up a little bit, to get maybe downloaded from the Daf Yomi digest or from OU, get something a little bit like, potpourri on the daf, and see something that's interesting. You might find the halacha on the daf like you have on the old daf. You have different things, the history on the daf. You could really open up. I mean, for this year, actually, I was looking forward to Daf Peiches. If it's we're a little bit behind that. Then you have all the Kabbalah and Torah sugyas. That's really exciting, really interesting. You could look at, they have the Agadata, the Mefarshim Ben Yayada, you have Marsha, you have all the different Agadas on Shavuos. That would be a really delicious experience this year. Move ahead a little bit and get to those good Shavuos, Kabbalah Satar Sugyas in Shabbos Daf Peiches. That would really unique in that the actual sugyas of the Kabbalah Satar is a little bit ahead of the curve of where the Daf Yomi is up to. So if you find that opportunity, Shavuos by night, either move ahead or skip to those dafim and you'll really get a nice, pleasurable experience as it comes together with the Daf Yomi, where a person feels like, hey, this is my turf. You can really get to those sugyas there where it talks about Kabbalah Torah. Actually, this year it being on Friday or Shabbos, Vav Sivan, Zayin Sivan, it can really be exciting learning those sugyas that the Daf Yomi offers for this year.
I think Daf Yomi on this level should be viewed as a basis for becoming a person who learns. I don't think the best use of Shavuos night is in Daf Yomi because it's inherently inconsistent. Meaning, if you're spending all of Shavuos night in Daf Yomi, what do you do every other week for those 5 hours? Are you spending that extra amount of time on Daf Yomi all the time? I think Daf Yomi works because of its consistency. So I think to have like a burst within Daf Yomi, it's nice, but I don't see that as something that most people would even know how to do. I think the better way to go about it is to come up with a project that you're going to learn on Shavuos night, a sefer that the Rambam's Hakdama to the Perush Mishnayos, something that's about Talmud Torah, the Kisvei Maratz on Torah Shebal Peh, something that's about how Torah Shebal Peh works, and use that as a project. I would also suggest that this year in particular, when pretty much everyone who has children is going to be home with their children on Shavuos night, the number one priority is to make sure that the children have what to do and to make sure that you're able to learn with them. When the Rambam in Hilchos Talmud Torah starts out the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, so he says that Nashma Avad Tanra Pturim from Talmud Torah, but Ha'av is Chayiv L'Lamidas B'no Torah. Before he ever tells us we have a Chayiv to learn Torah, he tells us that we have to teach our children Torah. So this is a unique opportunity. They don't have anything else to do, really, meaning normally in shul there are programs for them, and the Rebbeim are arranging shiurim in the community and things like that. Now it's up to the parents. We're really back to what the Pesukim say, that the father has to make sure to teach the children Torah.
So I have actually 2 suggestions for 2 different types of situations. Traditionally, the shiur that I give, the live shiur that I give every morning, we are typically behind. Not by much, a blot or so. So we always use Shavuos by night to catch up. This year, again, we're not exactly sure what the world will look like and what everything will look like when Shavuos comes. But assuming that we won't be able to have shiurim yet in shul on Shavuos by night, or other people who are better than me and stay on schedule. So what I always recommend, to take something, and Shabbos is the perfect Masechta, to take any of the this Masechta, particularly, it has to be manageable because Shavuos by night is only a couple of hours. But if we've learned sugyas, so many sugyas about what is or isn't considered carrying on Shabbos. So take Mishnah Berurah, Siman Shin Gimel, and learn through Siman Shin Gimel. It's a manageable chunk that you could do Shavuos by night. Or if we're learning in Paraklal, it's a Amud and a half of Gemara, the Halacha Boirer. So, and it's a very important halacha to discuss and know what is or isn't Boirer. So that's a manageable subject, and take out the Mishnah Berurah or take out any of the contemporary halachas forum, and now you're sort of into Masechta Shabbos and you're into that malacha, and you will appreciate what the Poskim say so much more because you just learned the sugya hopefully well, and that would be a wonderful way in my mind to learn to spend your Shavuos by night. I could also suggest that maybe you shouldn't do anything connected to the Daf Yomi Shavuos by night. As much as the Daf Yomi is such an important part of anybody's thing we should do. And we should maybe spend our night on Shavuos by night expanding our horizons past Daf Yomi and sort of making a statement that our Limud Torah is not limited strictly to Daf Yomi.
Basically, an important component of any type of learning of Chazara, the Gemara in Sanhedrin Sadi test. If we learn without chazering, it's like planting without harvesting. We can start the process, and how do you remember that Sanhedrin Sadi test? 99. You couldn't do it 100 times. Do one more time. That's Chazara is crucial. So how do you do Chazara? There are many different programs, and especially in Daf Yomi. I'm just trying to get by. If one does a little bit, think of what's reality. I don't want to start something that won't be in reality. One thing that I have found, I remember, again, different levels, but I have found that somebody starts. Try to start this. The week, let's say today is Thursday. Do last Thursday's daf, that's Chazar. 1 week behind. So you're doing the day's daf, so it's like far enough that you've kind of forgotten, but not far enough, hopefully, that you've forgotten everything. And in that way, to at least make something a little more concrete. It's such a good feeling when we remember something. It's such a chiyus. Say, oh yeah, that. We could have some type of chazara, especially those who have learned Daf Yomi before, or at least in their second cycle. There's an achrayus to take it to the next step. Okay, I've done this, but how can I be kona it more? How can I take it with me? I'm not just trying to do it. So one little idea is, again, it could maybe it means an extra half hour every day, whatever it is. But to try to some type of program, this is just one example. If one feels something different, you can do that too. Last week's daf. One day, and that means carving out an extra half hour a day, and maybe on Shavuos. Shavuos is the day to start. Maybe Shavuos is a day where, this Shavuos is also, it's a Friday and Shabbos, and, just figuring out a way, thinking about my schedule that I could somehow have time to chazit. Maybe even getting a Chavrusah. Sometime. Maybe not if you have a Chavrusah of the daf, maybe having somebody else, maybe if it's not the same one, however it works. But if one could chazer at all in some way, that's crucial. And again, if it doesn't work, if that works, nobody's doing that, there's so many kabbalas that one could have. Look, Shas Mishnayos. Somebody's never been through Shas Mishnayos. That's crucial. First of all, Shas Mishnayos make Gemara so much easier. The more Mishnayos we know, the more tomorrow we'll be familiar with the topics. How many Masechtas have we maybe not gone through as much as we can? The Zerah Masechtas, the Taras Masechtas, the ones that Daf Yomi doesn't do. How about 2 Mishnayos a day? 2 Mishnayos a day. Start that. With some type of chazar. There are many chazar programs of Mishnah too. But at some stage of life, we have to say, okay, what am I doing next? Shavuos is a day to think about and to try to commit to something. Try and say something small, something not, I'm not going to, take something on that is beyond reality. But I think these steps, we have to shoot for the stars. But taking concrete steps in terms of our learning. And Hashem Yazor. If we take the first step, Hashem can help us.
As a closing message, what could you share with the All Daf audience? Baruch Hashem, we've had tremendous success and a tremendous audience who are involved in listening to all the shiurim. And we, as an organization, are always trying to improve, and we can't stop. But what could you share as a Maggid Shiur with the All Daf audience?
I'd like to tell the All Daf audience that as we're going through this pandemic, we have to consider ourselves very lucky. We say every morning in the Birkat Torah, Asher Baharbanu Mikol Ha'amim, that you chose us from all the nations, and that manifests itself in V'natan lanu et Torato. You gave us the Torah. Now we always appreciate that, but I think in the pandemic it takes on a new level, and I'll tell you why. Everybody's homebound over here. And I'm wondering to myself, imagine if I didn't have the Torah, what would I be occupying all this time with? Most people are in front of a television, watching the news, getting scared out of their wits. Other people are going through all movies and, Habel Habalim. Other people are just reading nonsense books. And thank God, this is a time that God is giving us, and he gave us something to occupy it, the Torah itself, and it's purposeful learning, and it's valuable. And not only that, we get reward for it. So, we should be very thankful going into this Shavuot that God has given us a lot of extra time, and he's given us something to do with it, something that's purposeful and valuable and eternal.
Listens to All Daf is an added mechayev and an added responsibility for myself as a Maggid Shiur, and I love that added responsibility. So I really just say thank you to every single person that's going on All Daf and clicking on that and listening to the shiur.
I have to really just give the compliment to All Daf. I really tip my hat. All Daf really went above and beyond what anyone would have thought. incredible. The Harbatzah Satira, the gamut, the spectrum of Maggidei Shiurim and ideas and ways to remember, and the iyun and the interesting tidbits, the history, the clarity of all the different choices. It's really, like they say, it's one guy in my shir at the end, he says, I don't know if we're getting so much schar for this, for this learning, because really it's handed to us in the silver platter. Really, Rabbi Schwed, you outdid yourself. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak to the Chavra. I really am excited to be part of this mission, and really everyone enjoy the learning, and this will change your life, as I know it changed mine.
I'll just say All Daf has just been incredible. There's probably not a day that goes by that I don't get multiple emails from people who listen to the shiur on All Daf, and I'm like the fifth guy down on the list. I mean, there are other world famous Maggidei Shiur on that list. I can't even imagine the kinds of feedback that the other Rabbanim get. So it's just an incredible tool for Harbatzah Satorah. And ashreichem that you created it, and everyone is participating in it, is taking advantage of what technology has to offer l'tova. And I think this is it's almost like HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the refuah before the machla, that he made the Daf Yomi so much more accessible for people in a time where it was going to be harder to motivate oneself, where people are feeling a little bit down, where people are struggling, things aren't going the way certainly we would have planned this year to go, or the way we ever would have imagined it at the time of the Siyam HaShas. And then we have this lifeboat. We have this ability to connect to the Daf in a much easier way. And ashreichem for creating such a beautiful platform.
In my mind, the people who learn the Daf Yomi, I imagine that I always think about a wedding. So there are a lot of people, not now, unfortunately, but typically there are many guests at a wedding. You have the chassan and kala, you have the parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, neighbors, social acquaintances. They're all at the wedding. They're all attending the wedding at the same time, but they're not really all equal. You can't have a wedding without the chassan kala. Certainly the chassan kala's close family and close friends are the ones who are so much more connected to the wedding. Parents who are fortunate to marry off children, grandparents who are fortunate to attend the wedding of their grandchildren are so much more involved and so much more guest of honor at this simcha than others. I imagine that the same is with Shavuos. And I imagine in Mitzvah Shem, b'meher b'yameinu, when the Beis HaMikdash will be standing and we'll all be oile regel to Yerushalayim for Shavuos, and there'll be thousands and hundreds of thousands of people coming to the Beis HaMikdash to be oile regel for the Yom Tov Shavuos. I would imagine, I could be wrong, that there's going to be a special section. There's going to be a section for those people who learn every day, who are kavei itim l'Torah, that no matter what, they take out time from their busy schedules, particularly now where it's a difficult time. It's a time where people are having economic situation, economic stress. Even people who are Baruch Shem not necessarily having economic stress, but they can be under stress, seeing the health and the well-being of so many of the people that they love and care for under question. And all of us who are learning, we're going to be the guest of honors. We're going to be the guest of honor at the Yom Tov Shavuos. The people who learn the Torah, the people who learn Daf Yomi. So people who take this attitude towards learning, I believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at those people with a special favorable eye and says, I look at the people that I connect with, whether it's the people from All Daf who write to us, that no matter what the situation is, and no matter how difficult the situation is, they don't miss a day of learning. And I see that the other shiur that I give live, which we haven't been able to give for over 2 months, but we still learn every morning at the exact same time by conference call. And we don't say, well, why do we have to get up early to learn? We give the shiur at 5:40 a.m. We're not going to work. Some of us lost their jobs. They have no work to go to. But their attitude is, this is a kaviyas itim. And if there's a mageifa going on in the world, it's terrible. But that should chas v'shalom not affect our liman HaTorah. Because liman HaTorah is what's going to keep us healthy. Liman HaTorah is what's going to help us get out of this mageifa. Liman HaTorah is what should define us. And liman HaTorah will indeed help us be zoicha, taka, hopefully still even this Shavuos, to be oila regel and sit in that special section of those people who receive the Torah from Hashem and are learning HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Torah. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to say, Ru Bonai, look at my children who took the Torah, received the Torah I gave them, and appreciate it and make it an integral part of their life.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu put us into this generation for a reason. And like Rav Kook writes, before I was created, I didn't have a tachlis. We weren't supposed to be born 100 years ago, 200 years ago. We were all born at this exact moment in this technologically advanced generation. And the question is, how are we going to use it? How are we going to use technology? And anyone who connects to anything on the All Daf, anything that connects, using technology to be Marbitz Torah, to be Mefarsein, to be inspired at times when we're not connected in a specific setting, but using that and staying connected, being part of the world of Daf Yomi, of All Daf, of B'nai and Talmidei Rameir Shapiro. That's something that we should be proud of, something that we should chizik in, and go Michael Ochayil. Again, somebody pointed out that if this virus would have come even 10 years ago, how much harder it would have been. No Zoom, and even 20 years ago, 30 years ago, there are so many connections that we were still able to have. Rahman al-Islam, with the hardships, with the challenges. But Dafka now, Kadosh Baruch Hu, put it into place. It's our job to fight through it, to be able to accept it, and to be able to take it to the next level. But the more we use our technological gifts with Tov, everything in life can be lose of Tov and Lara. But as long and as much as we focus on using it in such a positive way, Hashem should bless our efforts and keep giving everybody chizik on Me'av Etzra.